Hey guys, we'll get started in just a minute or two. AR, why don't you try talking so we can find out if they can hear you?
Okay. I have an eye on the football game again, this time for fantasy purposes.
Okay, I'm reasonably sure they can hear you. Dev, why don't you say the few words you're able to say?
I hate working in retail so much, and I am physically, mentally, and emotionally dead.
What's worse, working in retail or dealing with people on Wikimon? Although I suppose dealing
Both.
with Wikimon, you can at least sit in your own chair at home.
Well, at the same time, it's like Wikimon is my safe haven, and then people just keep barging into it and fucking it up. Like that is
Oh,
my free time. That is my hobby time. I shouldn't have to put on
don't.
customers.
Well, it depends, dear. Does your retail job do you have a retail job that's like this job would be great if it weren't for the customer's retail job, or is it crap no matter what?
I work in a frame shop, so I get to work with artwork and put shit together, but our customers are like the most entitled fuckwads in all of existence.
Don't worry,
So
They also
basically
have
it's
no goddamn
so
taste.
basically it's the same thing.
don't worry. I have a Wikimon page up for later.
Jesus fuck.
And Dev can probably guess what it is. It's stupid, but it's funny. Okay, you guys ready to go?
Yes.
One more
Yeah.
drink and okay.
Yeah, I will do the same, I think.
Get my last cough out of the way.
I wonder if the noise reduction is working well enough that they actually can't hear you coughing.
It was more of a throat clear than a full-on cough, and I still try to use the mute button when we're actually on.
True. Okay, so you guys ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Welcome to the With the podcast. We're here to entertain and inform a bit while talking about Digimon. I'm Mark Run with the Will.
I'm AR Pulver, and I too frequently argue with myself.
DevQ, and I'm too tired to exist right now.
Aren't we all? It's days before Christmas, and I think we're all in that sort of tired, annoyed malaise of I want to do nothing and I have stuff to do.
Just playing out the string until the off days.
Yeah,
I wish I knew what those were.
it's been an interesting week, hasn't it? Like it felt like this was going to be an empty week, and then stuff started happening. And first, let us get into Kamaitaichi, episode 11 of Ghost Game.
Close enough.
Hooray! And I guess we should start with the interesting thing is this: we finally got a proper Ruli episode, which we all wanted. Although I enjoyed the episode, I think it's actually broken from the very beginning for one key reason. I'm not sure we've had enough Ruli where when she's walking around complaining and being upset, that it's clear she's being upset and it's not just who she is, when most of what we've had of her so far is her inviting people to help her and other stuff.
Yeah, she's been mostly in the role of instigator. It's not a critical flaw, but it
It's
is
not,
it is kind of an issue.
yeah, it's where we haven't met her enough to go, okay, this is a sweet character, so something's clearly wrong. Instead, it's like, wow, she's acting kind of bitchy, and I'm not sure why. Maybe that's a plot point, or maybe this is the character, because when you think back, it's like she was telling people what to do and having them help her, and they haven't fully introduced her yet. I liked the episode, but we kind of needed more of Ruli before getting this episode so that we could identify quickly that something's going on here.
It just felt
We all
kind of awkward
Yeah.
and anything.
Yeah, we also haven't seen a whole lot of the Rudy and Goromon relationship aside from when they're like on the job responding to
Yeah.
something.
Especially since in episodes he and Gormon does tend to fly off on his own, so that doesn't necessarily telegraph as him doing something strange and her being upset of it. They do give us her being a little snippy about it, so it's like, okay, something's going on, but that's been kind of his thing, is where he just flies off, and half the time he has her phone, even.
And or maybe that's something that's just been slowly building up, like she's just like slowly growing frustrated with this behavior.
No,
We don't
absolutely.
really
But
know.
yeah, but
And
but
you and you
that's the
but
thing
you
is
can
it works if they clarify it for us beforehand what's going on.
And you contrast that with, when I say that we really only see them on the job, you contrast that with Kishiru and Jellymon, who they will just throw random scenes between the two for not really any good
Yeah,
reason. Like
like
this time they threw
the
this
camera.
episode they threw them this episode, yeah, they threw two scenes of them in this episode only to show why they're not in this episode.
Yeah, but like
Which
her.
was hilarious. Which was the more enjoyable part of the episode,
No,
actually.
and exactly
I don't know.
it
I don't
worked
agree with
great.
that, but
I think here's
yeah,
the thing.
it is effective.
I think their stuff works great. She's demanding the camera just because she wants a camera. And then later we see them on the train and he's just sort of happy and they're discussing where they're going to go next. And it actually works shockingly well for what we know of those characters so
It
far.
it was an effective way of writing them out of the episode for
Yeah,
sure.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. But the problem is it's not their episode. And it's an episode predicated on knowing Ruli and Angoramon, and we kind of don't. And it was still really good. Those the main issue I have with it
Mhm.
is
Like with
like,
yeah, we don't Rudy and Goromon aren't afforded that luxury. Like when they're written out of an episode, they just show up late.
yeah, and it's nice that she has a Polaroid camera, and Angoramon correctly points out you do not want to shake it.
Mhm. It's I
That
don't think that's actually a Polaroid. I wish I could tell you what exact I forgot what it's actually
It's like an
called, but
Instax, but
oh, I'm
it's
sure,
yeah.
basically the same
oh,
thing.
I'm sure it is. But
It's
the joke is
we
that
it,
it's a Polaroid when he's saying you shouldn't shake it.
Yeah, well, it's a similar modern
I
equivalent to a Polaroid that actually are pretty popular in Japan. When I was a convention runner, for Anime Milwaukee, one of the bands we had a couple years ago demanded that we get film for one of these kinds of cameras and had me running around Milwaukee at like 8 at night trying to find one place that had this particular film.
Oh,
It was a hell, but I pulled it off.
that's amazing.
I ended up at Michael's.
Which
A-
is hilarious because people keep asking us, "Hey, do you carry this?" I was like, "No, we haven't carried that in 3 fucking years."
Yep.
and then
Yep. They had it behind glass.
and
Yeah,
then
because it walks off a lot. Which is
Yeah.
why
Ruli
we stopped carrying
Ruli
it.
calls up Hiro to talk. Bokomon and Gamamon are there. Gamamon's enjoying his ice cream. Hiro's being oddly direct.
Yeah. He really is, and giving bad advice too. I
They
love
they,
it.
they forgot that Ruli has a sense of mystery because she absolutely like no thought at all. And you mentioned this a couple episodes ago. No thought at all that weird shit happening might involve Digimon in some way.
Mm-hmm. I
And
mean, she's so. I think she's.
And
It's
she
more
was
that she's so.
disappointed when it ends up being a Digimon
yeah,
causing weird shit.
and then she runs out with her friends, and Hiro kind of goes, "Why am I here?"
Yeah,
And
I
then
got it though on her part. Like it's almost. I almost appreciate that instead of they kept it rather subdued. This little spat between them, like instead of having this big blow up like you usually see when a kid and their Digimon have issues with each other. It's more she's just gonna stew for a little bit. She's gonna ask Hito for advice, which he gives poor advice, but she attempted to, and then she's just gonna go off on her own and do some stuff with friends and maybe just let it die for a bit. Like
and
I kind of appreciate what she actually did there.
no,
It's like it's more realistic, honestly.
it
Is.
is.
I
It's
like
just
that.
funny how absolutely not only useless was Hiro, but that she apparently was meeting her friends there to abandon him regardless of the usefulness of it.
He's not part of their squad.
I know, but it's funny. She clearly invited him there, and it's
Oh
funny.
yeah, yeah,
And
totally.
then we catch up with Angoramon and the return of character model sheets from Adventure 2020. As we get
It's nice to get
as we
some
get
love again.
we get multiple Potamons running past, Muchomon
Potamon.
shows up.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
favorite was Labramon.
Labramon. Is that the first time Labramon's been in here since the Tamers movie? Did
I
he show up
feel
in the
like it.
reboot? Oh
I
no.
know his pre-evolutions did.
Yes, yes. I know Xiaomon did, but
No, no,
Labramon I don't
no.
think made it.
Labramon was in the one with the the Yamato episode with where Garurumon, where Nemon's there.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
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 Well, it was so fucking
There
forgettable.
were 2 or 3 Labramons just standing there. I don't think they do anything in the episode. They're the ones that Nemon's saying that he's leading to safety.
I mean, he didn't really do anything in this episode either, but it's
Yeah.
nice to see them.
Well, he had more personality in this episode
Oh
than.
my God! They were in an episode with Bokomon after being in an episode with Nemon. And so the weird thing is here is Angoramon. We get him talking to Digimon, and we don't find out what's happening till later. So it actually appears like he's more directly being involved with the plot of the episode, and I don't think he was in retrospect. I think it just came across that way.
Who, Angoramon?
Yeah, because it came
Yeah,
across as him
no.
trying to get information to what was happening, and later on we find out it's actually them just discussing, what's going on because they don't
Mhm.
really have anywhere to go back to.
Yeah,
So
he's
yeah,
just getting general gossip, not
no,
anything
I know,
pertaining to
but
this
in the
particular thing.
context of watching the episode for the first time, I thought that's what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I
No,
thought the same because it's like,
Yeah,
oh, maybe he's sneaking off
yeah,
so Ruli doesn't wander off into danger. And
exactly. And then you find
yeah.
out later it has nothing to do with that. They just don't tell us enough to be aware of it.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
it seems
then
like he's just
yeah,
regularly hitting these guys up for info,
no, we know
which I
that by the end. It was just a bit
yeah.
weird in the middle. I thought like, oh man, he's going off to be super proactive in dealing with this problem. He's probably trying to protect her, and she's getting upset about it. And no, that was none of it. Absolutely not.
Mhm. Again,
Uh,
it's almost a little too subdued for its own good.
yeah,
I still appreciated how mellow they kept it, because
Oh
A
no, so
blow
do
up
I.
seemed like it would have been over dramatic in this kind of situation.
And
And,
how can you stay mad at Ungoramon? He's so fluffy.
and then two voices are arguing while Ruli's out taking photos, and then things go dark. And then, did her taking the photo make him visible?
I think it more or less just kind of like startled him
But
and drew his attention.
she should have been able to see him anyways, though, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Not necessarily, because like
Well,
in
no,
the
because
episode where Pokemon first showed up,
the watch makes that happen for them.
Yeah.
They can see all of them.
And we had all this explained a couple episodes ago, and we still don't entirely know what's going
Yeah,
on.
because it's using the mood to fuck with it. The problem is now that they've explained it, we can actually latch on to issues even better rather than going, oh, maybe there is a mystery here. And
Mm-hmm.
Reppamon's arguing with his fucking tail, which, man, I don't know
point your
how.
ass is an ass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's something very interesting about having the fight literally being
Reppamon versus
yeah,
Reppamon.
one guy zooming around and and then Angoramon's. I liked when Angoramon zoomed off to help. They actually did a helicopter noise, like they actually did the as he flew. Yeah, Ruli calls Hero, who he would. It would really be smart of him not to pick up the phone, and Gamamon's sleeping. And the writing out of Kiyoshiro and Jellymon is Kiyoshiro just not picking up the phone because it's against the rules.
It's against the rules.
Which that is
That's
a great way
fantastic.
to write out that character because that's
It
exactly
really
how
is.
he should act.
He doesn't even check it to see who it's from. I love it.
And then the rules break again because they need Hero to be able to get there, so they just have Gamamon go, I feel like I can evolve. Eh? And then he evolves and they go, oh, it's the blue one. And
Yeah,
apparently
it's the blue one.
and apparently he can pop out handles now, and then he goes flying off like Taichi riding on Metal Greymon, which was AR's favorite part of the last show.
I mean, in this circumstance, it's completely understandable.
I
Like, that's
would
not the
I
first
would have
time.
I would have preferred if handles didn't pop out. If it was just like him holding on, and it's not like motorcycle gear popped out so he could like comfortably ride.
Now there's a question, is that something that they sort of wished for with Chaos Gamamon, or is that just part of his design from the beginning and we just didn't know before? I do appreciate, if there is any progression, it's the fact that it is apparently on demand now, which
Well,
evolution
here's the
shows
thing:
up.
it's not clear if it's on demand because Gamamon's wording is basically like, "Oh, it feels like I can." Like they could easily just go, "Oh, he had too much chocolate earlier, which let him do it as a one-off." We actually don't really
It's
know.
it's at least they're, at least I guess I appreciate that they're trying to imply that they're not sure whether it's possible or not, whereas in
Fair
other
enough.
series it's like once it happens the first time it's like, yep, we can do whatever we
Fair
want
enough.
now.
And then Reppamon has a terrible plan of how to deal with the problem of his tail. Cut it off. How is he going to cut off his tail when the tail is the thing that cuts? Did they
I mean,
ever? Did
it's
they ever?
kind of like the Loki myth, where it's like, sure, you can cut off my head, but you have no claim to my neck.
Sure, but I'm saying the thing he uses to cut is the thing he's arguing with. How's he going to cut?
He's just
And
he's just
I
got
know.
to find a working bandsaw somewhere.
Yeah. And then isn't it nice
Or he
that
goes
they
Coyote instead of Fox and just gnaws it off.
and then we get the ultimate animation cheat where they draw nothing but we see random slashes in the air. Now, here's the thing. That's an animation cheat that works a lot better than the Jellymon stuff last week.
Yeah, that one
Yeah.
was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here
that's a timeless animation cheat.
yeah. And then they tie it all together, how sweet, by Ruli saying you have to talk to each other, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Right at that moment, Angormon bounces in, and then he has
Yeah.
bamboo swords, which very nice for him.
Mm-hmm. And Goramon trying to trying to talk about the need for communication while like sort of semi I couldn't tell if he was talking halfway to himself or trying to guilt trip Rudy. I couldn't tell what was going on there, but
Or both.
that parallel does not work at all.
It's meant
Like
Also,
to,
I
but
like that he got the
these are
two
two
swords
this
because
is a
that's like
real
his evolution.
it's just trying to draw a comparison between a relationship where someone is literally arguing with his own body
yeah.
versus a relationship that's just kind of a little off right now.
And
And
then
I didn't like that I didn't like that attempted parallel at all, even though they need to attempt to do those sorts of parallels more often in Digimon.
and then the hero shows up with his Digimon, and they forget that it's an Angoramon episode for a bit. For just a little bit,
Eh,
they had Kaus
You
Galamon
know,
doing
they
stuff, and then
yeah.
Angor, yeah.
You
So,
know what? They need all the help they can get to actually win a fight. And this was oddly one of the more satisfactory, conclusive victories they've had in the series. Like
mostly. They sort
they
of
had this sucker.
they sort of made them talk and then dealt with it before the fight could start up again. Because
Yeah, well, they had Reppamon pinned.
well,
That was key.
except there's one thing. The pin is a good idea to deal with it where they have to talk, although it kind of ignores that up until now, that tail could just basically cut fucking anything with no effort.
I'm giving him this one.
Oh, I'll give it to them. I'm just saying they sort of lost track that, oh, the thing that pins was cutting stuff earlier when it was fighting and being pinned.
Does the tail have the ability to control its like
Yeah, because
tail bone? Like, can it move
they
around?
were actually fighting. Like they were actually
Okay.
having a physical fight. That wouldn't work if it can't control itself at all. And then Ruli does the thing where she talks about feelings and how they need, and she's really talking about herself.
It's couples therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Angoramon explains everything, and
Hmm.
then they bring back the lemon thing from earlier in the episode that I barely remember fucking existed. And the solution is Reppamon will cut lemons because they really needed to spend more time
They
on the lemons earlier if that was going to be the plot resolution.
I mean, who
I
was
think it
it?
was like
I
some
forgot it was.
bullshit excuse to keep,
Yeah, it was
No,
either
murder
like
from
Potamon or
happening.
Labramon that had really crappy lemon cutting skills.
no, absolutely, but like I barely remember that even came up. If that's gonna be the skillful resolution to the plot, I would have at least appreciated a bit more of the lemons because I fucking forgot.
We needed to see the crappy lemons, I
Yes.
think.
That actually would have helped because it would have forced you to focus on them and remember them.
Yeah, like Angoramon sort of makes a disgusted face when he's handed the tea, and it's like, wow, the lemon job here is really subpar.
And then Hiro and Gamamon are standing there very confused at what's going on.
As they should be.
And
Yeah.
and then the episode ends as you would expect with Ruli being a Tsunade. And then
Hmm.
apologizes for being a
Hmm.
jerk and hugs him.
It's so fluffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's weird in that it's an episode that is, a little more subdued than it needs to be. But like I said, I do appreciate that they do have it subdued. That some of the really easy choices they could have made to kind of amp up the episode, inappropriate as it would have been, they decided not to go with. Like
I
they
I
didn't make this an evolution episode,
I don't
even
disagree.
though we saw all the flags a
But
mile away.
yeah, but
I thought it was going to be an evolution
oh
episode, but no.
it would have
Oh,
made
it totally all
no,
of the hallmarks were there.
yeah.
Like this was begging to be an evolution episode, and they held off,
I'm
and I do respect
I'm
that.
torn though because it's what we've said 100 times. The show is technically good, but it's stuck in this weird rut where I'm like kind of enjoying it for 24 minutes a week, but any thought into it after kind of makes me go, there's some fucking problems here. It's the same fucking problems we had with the last show. It's just slightly more enjoyable because it's character stuff.
Yeah, like I feel like if I was writing a full blog post about this episode, I could go
You would
a
have,
lot longer. I would have a lot more to say
you know,
about the Rudy and Goramon relationship,
this is
where I
this.
wouldn't have been able to say anything about any of the
When you give
relationships
this
in
one?
that season to that extent. This was still a B minus. Like the
So
flaws were still
so
pretty
here's the thing.
apparent.
So this is the type of episode that I think probably benefits from you doing a short write-up, because if you sat there and had to think about it, I think you would have knocked it down to a C plus. I think
No,
it.
I think the B. I feel like the B minus was actually a little
Okay, fair
harsh. Like
enough.
I was weighing
Eh,
between, like, the B minus was the low floor, was actually the floor for
see,
this one. I was hovering between B and B minus,
I
honestly.
think I think B minus sounds about right. It's one of those things where if we knew Ruli better, I would have been much happier with the episode. It feels too
It's
much like an episode that too much of it is predicated on us really knowing the character, and we
it's
don't.
almost like this episode is too early. Like, a little later on in the show, I think this would have been
Yeah.
more
Or
successful.
or
Like,
if
if we'd have more, we're more comfortable with their patterns.
if we had one proper full episode of her before this, I probably
Hmm.
would have very few actual issues with the episode.
Yeah.
It's
He
that
does
we
end up commenting, it's like, "Oh, this is the first time in a long time that I've been alone." And it's just like, okay, but does she like being alone? Is she relieved?
Yeah.
it
Or is
yeah
she
it
salty because she's one of those people that needs to be around other
well
people
th-
constantly? So it's
yeah.
not really clear.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by the stuff early. I don't know if they're introducing us to her as she actually is when we've mostly seen her being perky as part of a group, or if she's
Hmm.
actually upset about something, which is part of my issue with the episode is I thought they were going, okay, well technically speaking, if you think back to how she's been telling people what to do, she's been getting people to help her. The one time that didn't happen was when she was worried, so things may have just been different. I started to wonder, oh, are they actually telling us that she's a different character than we guessed? And it's like, oh no, there's just something upsetting her, but
Yeah.
the show has not telegraphed that enough for us to understand.
Hmm.
Minus that we assume she's a bubbly, friendly person, but the show hasn't
Yeah.
shown us that yet.
Yeah. At the same time, I do really like that we're getting a lot of different looks from these characters. Like, we're seeing a lot of different sides of them
I want to see more
really
Bokomon.
early
I
on.
like him just showing up.
Yes. Just
Uh,
shoving chocolate down in Gabamon's face.
yeah. Then we have our guest for the episode. Masaya Matsukaze makes his first Digimon appearance as the body of Reppamon. He's Cold in Attack on Titan, Moroku in Beyond the Boundary, Yasuhiro in Danganronpa, Mikami in Death Note. Um, Reppamon's tail is Kenji Nomura, who many Nanimon in the original adventure, Babel in
Ugh.
Tamers, Arbormon in Frontiers, and Gogmamon in Adventure 2020.
That
Eh,
whole body tail thing is very Kill la Kill.
Yeah,
It has a
Yeah.
side to it.
that would have been one of those times where if this was a short show, we would have gotten fancy animation. I'm perfectly
Yeah.
happy with the cheat of the slash marks though, because that is a good anime hallmark.
And if they had managed to get the same voice as the uniform from Kill la Kill to be the tail, that would have been like an A+ move.
And then
That
we
Great
would have been perfect. I would
reference.
have loved that.
then we
Yeah.
have two more first timers. Muchomon is new person in Digimon, Karen Takahashi. She was in Gridman and Dyna's. I can never say the same. Dyna Zenon, I believe is how it's said. I haven't heard that title said out loud. And
Interesting they didn't get the same one from Adventure.
Suika and Doctor Stone. Well, it
I still
looks
need to watch Dr. Stone.
yeah. And then the Floramon that talks is Asumi Sato, who's basically just a new actress in general. She had a couple roles in the last version of Kitaro. Yeah, it's a very low B episode that if things had been done better in prior episodes, I might have wanted to give it like an A. If
Yeah,
it,
like
it
this one this is the kind of episode I want to cheer for. Like,
but
I want
yeah,
more of these kinds of episodes, but
after we know the
you still
characters.
need to, yeah, you still, but surrounded by episodes where you have a lot of Digimon beating up each other.
Yeah. And then next time we deal with a chain letter.
About time.
Eh.
That's a trope that was begging for episode.
And the repaint that everyone likes to see. and forgets exists Zasomon.
Not like he doesn't have enough repaints already.
That's another model reuse from Adventure, because he showed up in that the
The-
the Eldoradimon push one.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
They're, we're getting
Yep. No,
we're
we
getting
don't need to.
Adventure cameo after Adventure cameo.
I mean, Adventure used a lot of Digimon.
No, absolutely, but a lot
Yeah.
of new ones also, though.
Yeah, that's okay. Give the new
No,
ones some screen
no,
time.
no. That's not a negative. That's smart, because a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
episodes, they're going, okay, who can be used for a plot?
Yeah.
Okay, this Digimon makes sense for the plot, and we have material that's modern. So
Mm-hmm.
it's one that people already know how to deal with. That's smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then from Ghost Game and a quick mention of Adventure 2020, we have to go back to the original Adventure. Joji Yanami passed. The original Geni.
Damn, they're just dropping left and right lately.
I mean, he was 90,
Yeah.
so.
And this is one of those where Kakudo comments that the character was actually designed specifically for Yanami to play him.
Oh, that's cool.
And he actually thinks the last time he directed him was for the Adventure PSP game as Geni again.
Oh,
Oh
right.
yeah, because he was
Yeah.
in that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you literally could not even list all the stuff he has been in. Like, it's one of those
Keep
where,
scrolling.
yes,
Yeah.
like to the point that I don't know if it's actually when he retired. I actually remember the last role of his that I remember, and I'm pretty sure that's when he retired for medical reasons. And you could tell he was having trouble. It was the narrator and North Kai slash King Kai in Dragon Ball Super. I believe by episode 12 he was gone.
I'm looking at his
Oh
voice.
no, it's yeah,
His voice
it's
rolls. It goes back to 1960s.
yeah.
Yeah.
But not only that, it's not like just bit roles. There's a lot of big roles that he played for
Yeah.
years and years. It's insane.
And
The
that
no,
actually looking at his roles answers a question I had about the film I watched last night, but we'll get back
yeah,
to
we'll
that in
get
a
into that
second.
later.
He was not in that, by the way, and I was hoping he was.
Like, huh, this sounds familiar. Now it's someone else.
Yeah, the number of that's the thing is he's one of those people who did so many voices that were iconic that voices in other stuff, even ones
Mm-hmm.
from years ago, are based on his voice.
Yeah, you imitate him.
Yeah.
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 Like he's become an archetype now.
Beyond that, to be honest, it like it's one of those things where, like, I'm scrolling through the list now to even look at, oh, what's worth commenting on. It's like there's actually too much. It's one of those where you could literally just scroll, look through stuff, and it just never fucking ends. Like even I have a relatively high resolution monitor. His Dragon Ball stuff alone is half a page. And of course, he was also Zanwumon in Tamers. He was Keratinmon in Cross Wars. Like, it's just endless.
That Tamer's role. I'm like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's just insane. And then the week just kept getting weirder. So first up, they announced Digimon Con, which not quite, but sure, okay, the name works.
It's I think Digicon is trademarked for
No,
those
I
wondering.
mean, like, the idea of it being a convention, when realistically it's, you know, that online
His
only
dream.
Yeah.
Digifest from 2020 worked. Let's do that 6 months out from Digifest and 6 months after Digifest, and that will now just be a new thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, and like, I'm perfectly
Sure.
okay with it. The problem is people are like, finally a Digimon convention. It's like, I'm
It's
excited.
not a
Yeah,
No,
I'm
it's not a
they're just making
convention.
it bad.
I'm excited also, but they do this at least once
It's
every year, and especially with Diginavi, this is effectively a bigger Diginavi. realistically.
and it's a series of presentations.
Yeah, so we have the anime segment, the game segment, which, haha. Here's the problem. So here's the thing.
Oh my god, that
So
would be amazing. The game segment is just new
no,
Rear Eyes content.
because see, that's the thing. Logically, they have to deal with Survive here.
They
This is
have
actually
to.
like, as much
Yeah.
as we joke that people should not go into stuff expecting X, if they
This
don't
is
comment
something
on
to
it here,
go into. Yeah.
there's an actual problem if they don't comment on something
Yeah,
here.
this one they better do
Yeah.
something with it.
Then we get the Vital Bracelet segment. Then we'll get into the illustration competition in a bit. A special live performance by Yumi Miyazaki, which this is just DigiFest from 2020. This is
It really is.
this is exactly what they did and more.
Mhm.
And they clarify that there'll be a Japanese stream, there'll be an English stream. The streams will be slightly different. There'll be more details soon, and it's February 26th. And the fun part is they fucked up the times. So
Oh no.
the times are actually pretty good. It's 5 p.m.
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
7 and 8 p.m. for you guys. So that makes sense. Except
Mhm.
here's the fucking problem. It's on a Saturday at 5 p.m. Which
Mhm.
means if this thing runs for more than an hour and a half,
It's
Ghost
gonna
Game
run in the Ghost
starts.
Game.
Unless they're going to take that week off, which they would know. But that feels
Okay.
like slightly iffy brand, because here's the thing. This is after the Japanese time is after Ghost Game because it's not the
Yeah.
exact same time. That's
Right.
a bit fucky. You know what I mean?
Well, it kind of is, but also like it's Crunchyroll. It's on demand. We don't
No,
have
no,
to. You don't
no,
have to watch
no,
it
no, no, no,
live.
absolutely. But what I mean is it's 10 a.m. in Japan. If they kick it to noon, we'd have it after like they are.
Yeah. But
I,
also, yeah, like you do want to coordinate for both. And
no,
by the
but that's what I
time,
mean. You don't want people to potentially leave if they want to watch the show immediately, is what I mean, though.
eh, I would give this preference over watching it live
So
or
would
watching
I.
Ghost
But
Game live.
here's the problem: is streams like this often save the interesting stuff for the end.
Mm-hmm.
And based on how long it runs, if people go, okay, there's not anything interesting, I'm gonna go watch the fucking show, and if anything pops up, I'll check later. And then 5 minutes later, they could announce something crazy.
I think you're ready for that. Like
Oh,
I'm going to be working a convention like a week before
no,
this. So,
absolutely.
and I mean a real convention.
Yeah,
So guess when I'm not watching Ghost Game.
no, absolutely. But I mean in the sense of wanting as many fans to tune in as possible. Like, here's the thing. We all know, and because we talk about it, the listeners know, you realistically want to hang into the end for something like this.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to tune in at all. So
Mm-hmm.
I like the key art's very nice. We get slightly more detailed version of social art. And I like how they made the banner themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Although not as much paint on Pulsemon as the other two. Pulsemon's being a bit lazy. Um, so we will see what pops up there. There's definitely going to
Mm-hmm.
be more to say before then.
Yeah. I'm just more forgiving on the time simply because you do
Um,
want to have it before the East Coast goes to bed.
you aren't wrong there, but it's never stopped them for the English streams before. When
Yeah, no one gives a fuck about the
yeah,
East Coast or
when
anything.
for the East, I believe if they do a Diginavi before the clocks change again, I believe it will
Mm-hmm.
be 2 or 3 a.m. for me and 5 or 6 a.m. for the East.
Right, but this is specifically like this is one where they want to get the English speaking or the Western English speaking audience. They want them to be involved with this. This is
True.
specifically
No,
targeted to get them
you're not
in this.
wrong.
Whereas Diginavi, they do
They,
not care.
oh no, they've been paying for advertising on Twitter and Facebook for the Western audience for those.
You just
Like,
show up.
Yeah,
like,
they also they also
literal.
put that up online later, so people can just wake up and
No, I
watch
know,
it. Like
but
that might be the same thing
they're
for
yeah,
this, but
they're fucking doing that for this. I'm
this is
99% sure.
more
This is more exciting.
catering towards this is more to be a live experience,
Well,
is what I'm
here's the
saying.
thing. I agree with you, but we've been burned before on those assumptions. Now, realistically, if they don't announce something fun here, people are gonna be very upset, even more so than the Diginavi, which there's been enough Diginavis that we can tell people, hey, don't freak out. This is normal. They'll announce one or two neat things, but this is mostly catch up.
Yeah.
And cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
So
think this is I think this
it
is very different from a
yes,
Diginavi.
it should be. The problem is Bandai sometimes has issues figuring that out. I would hope it is, and it really needs to be. But they've been confused before. And then the illustration competition, which, oh man, the response. Let's go over this first, and then go over some people's responses, which have been kind of funny. So, an art contest in the US and Japan, the winners get money and their art turned into cards,
That
which
seems like fun.
that's very neat.
Okay.
Um,
So far so good.
file specifications, they give you what it needs to be, they tell you details, they give exact dates for stuff. So February 6th is when stuff closes, and then 30 to 50 works will be announced as passing the first level screening, and that will be announced at Digicon. And
Okay.
then a month
Okay.
then a month later in late March, they will announce at least the grand prize winner. There'll be 7 second winners, which also get their stuff made into cards, just a bit less money. And then the judges can give special prizes to anyone else that they think is where they'll get at least roughly the equivalent of $500. No promise on the card with that though, but that's basically the judges giving out
Mhm.
special prizes
Mhm.
that don't fit in.
Again, that's okay.
They give a very good card layout image to show you how the art may be laid out on a card if you want to tailor it to that.
Right?
And they tell you the theme is cooler, cute scenes with Digimon. And then, because we know there's been issues with people not listening, they actually give you a list of Digimon that you can choose from. And then some people got upset because the list is exactly what you would expect it to be.
Mhm.
So the list is Agumon, Patamon, Terriermon, Gamamon, Numamon, who I will actually say is like the wild card that you would not
Yeah.
expect.
Yeah.
Devimon, Lilymon, who not necessarily who you'd expect, but a good choice, I think, and Mugandramon, who you always expect in this sort of thing.
Mhm.
Oh
Um,
yes.
they show Bandai profile art. They show anime layout art to show you what the characters look like from different angles.
Which is
Links
very helpful.
Yeah.
there's links on the page to show you prior cards with the character so you can see what's been done with them before. And then there's some production notes like if it's drawn digitally, please use layers. But of course you can draw and scan. They
Mhm.
even point out you don't have to use illustrations. If it's 3D art, that's fine also. They don't quite clarify that it's they seem to me where they say you can take photos, so to me it's just like clay is okay or
Yeah, I was
art.
gonna say they do a
Yeah.
lot of like
Yeah.
art with in card games in
No,
general with
absolutely.
like
Yeah.
clay and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So
It's popular.
then they clarify some more rules. So if a Digimon is not eligible for the contest, you can still include them in the card as long as it's very obvious what Digimon is the card.
Mhm.
The limitation there, though, is it has to be Digimon that are in the reference book as of right now. You cannot include a Digimon who's not
No.
there. Which,
No OCs.
yeah. Then they also point out no humans in it. It has to be just Digimon. That way there can
Yep.
be no
Yep.
confusion over what is on the card.
Yeah.
Because because here's the thing, someone might go, well, why wouldn't you allow tie? Because then people will try to twist the design to make it something else. They can go,
Yeah.
it's meant to be tie, and
Yeah.
they're not playing that game. Basically, nothing there should not be Digimon. There shouldn't be logos. There shouldn't be vague designs that suggest something other than Digimon. Just Digimon.
Mhm. Mhm.
every artist can submit up to 3 different pieces of art. So you can do different things. And then we get the judge list, which is actually pretty. So Kenji Watanabe, as you'd expect, Masashi
Ooh.
Harada, who's in charge of Digimon at Bandai, basically the modern day Volcano Oda. Makoto Takahashi, who's the general manager of the card business at Bandai. Unspecified members of the Digimon card game R&D team. Yosuke Kinishida, who's the movie producer, who we've seen stuff with him many times, and unspecified members of the Ghost Game production staff. And then they give you screening judging criteria. It has to match the theme, creativity, originality, and quality of the design. I assume that is a combination of the quality of the composition, also can it actually work as a card? I assume.
Yeah.
Because like if you
Yeah.
have the character's face
Also,
partially covered up at the top left, that's something that has to be covered up in the cards.
yeah. I mean, it also
Yeah, it's
has to
like make
look
it
good.
portrait instead of landscape.
Yeah. We get some very nice art that t- from Kenji Watanabe of Agumon and Gamamon in the paintbrush.
Hmm.
And there's a few things that people got very upset about. The first is that it's U.S. and Japan only, which is not a shock. I
Yeah.
don't I
I'm
don't mean
surprised the US is included at all.
and if
I mean,
yeah
the legalese required to
yeah
make this an international
yeah.
contest is
And then
extensive.
the problem is you have people now trying to email Bandai going, I'm not from the US or Japan, can I enter? And then going, they emailed me back and they said, well, there's copyright issues, but we'll try to do it in the future. They're listening to us. It's like, no, that's a generic
Yeah.
response. And
That's
the
a
problem then is you have people then on social media deciding they need to get their 2 cents in going, well, I'm not in the US and how dare they not let us? And then they go, oh, well, I wouldn't enter it anyways because look at this list of Digimon. I'm not going to do it. It's like, you're not invited. You don't, you,
Yeah, it's
it,
like they're gonna get plenty of entries with this list of
yeah.
Digimon and the restrictions. These are all very reasonable restrictions for a an official contest.
Shockingly reasonable, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
where they even go, you know, the 3, you can take photos. You don't have to draw digitally. It can be a scan. Um,
Hmm.
if you aren't able to get a good quality scan now, they point out later on, if you win, they will have you resubmit the art. So you can make sure it's
Okay.
done properly that time. So like if you can only
Yeah.
take a photo now, you could always
Hmm.
run down Kinko's isn't there anymore, FedEx office and do a proper scan of it if you win. They won't harm your judgment based on the quality of that, as far as I can tell.
Hmm.
Um, the fact that that there's even mild um, that they only have actually 2 of the adventure child partners is actually more reasonable than I would have expected.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a fairly
Yeah,
decent range.
yeah. We have
I hope
2.
it goes well so they can do it again.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
We have
And
2
they can
advent.
do it again with and give you if this is successful, they can do it again with a different list.
Yeah. The list is actually more reasonable than I would have thought of for this type of thing, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
A list of 8 Digimon, I would not have called that only 2 of them would have been adventure child partners.
Yeah.
And Liliamon is actually a better choice than I would have thought of for let's stick in one higher level. I would have
Hmm.
thought you would have gone with War Greymon, Omegamon, or Metal Greymon. Lilyamon's actually a really nice choice to spread out the types of art and to also get people disqualified very, very fucking quickly based on what
Oh my God.
based on what they're gonna send and is gonna immediately be chucked into the trash and burnt.
That's I think that's why they list some unspecified members, so some of the card game R&D team interns can throw
Uh,
out the
I believe
naughty
the
Lilymon pictures.
I believe the rules list specifically says no extreme violence, no sexual content. There's a detailed list of if any of this is here, it's going to the fucking shredder and being burnt. But yeah, it is very reasonable for especially for a first try. I have to say, there
Yeah, yeah.
there's a
This
very
is
real feeling of openness that because you would have expected Japan only. Out of 8, 4 of them will be adventure partners, 2 of them will be higher level adventure. You'd get Terriermon
mm-hmm.
and then Gamamon, and then that would be
Come
the
on.
list. And that would be the
Yeah.
list. That would not have shocked me at all. That there's any
Hmm.
variety here is good. and we will see what pops up here. And feel free to keep making
It's
those tweets about how you don't like it, because those are amusing as shit to read. Especially since it's people who aren't eligible in the first place going, I don't like this list of Digimon. I'm not going to enter.
You
great.
I
can't in the first
no,
place.
Put your
but
put your
it's
fa-
but it's like, hey person, I have a bunch of Digimon searches, and right below your tweet is one saying you live in X. You're and being upset about not being eligible in the first place. You going, I'm not going to enter because the list doesn't matter when you know you can't
Yeah, they
enter.
they don't care. And
Yeah,
also, you can also put your fan art on Twitter or something and we'll all love you and retweet it anyway.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And there's a question about that later that I actually like the question. I'm 99% sure I know what it's about. So
mhm.
then next up, tr- translated bits of a Famitsu interview with Masashi Harada, who, as mentioned earlier, is effectively the position Volcano Oda used to have, where he's effectively the person at Bandai in charge of the brand. And I will, ignoring that there could easily be translation issues, because, man, I have to put in a lot of time to do this shit because I am not a language person.
Mhm.
Assume
Languaging sucks.
assuming most of what I got was accurate, and I think it's reasonably accurate, he really seems on the fucking ball. As far
Yeah, this is a little more insightful than I
and
maybe would have expected.
there's and you in the responses from people, you can understand why they normally don't give insightful interviews. Like people are like, haha, the Adventure 2020 Digivice failed. It only sold 10% of what the Vital Bracelet did. It's like, do you know what that product was? The $100 thing that they only sold for a month only sold 10% of something that's cheap and it's been on sale for a year. That's fucking amazing. I'm shocked they haven't done a second one if it sold that much, especially since we know it was was it August or September when we found out it sold 200K, the Vital Bracelet?
Yeah, we were really
Yeah,
surprised. It's like,
yeah.
God damn, hell
So
yeah, Vital
so
Bracelet,
they
you
sold,
go.
that means they sold 20,000 of the 2020 Digivice. I would have guessed at most 1,000 or 2,000. Like I didn't
Yeah,
ex-
because it's there to look pretty.
That
No,
was a good
exactly.
Digivice.
It was, but like that was a limited thing. I expected they sold maybe a few thousand. 20,000 is insane. That thing was like $90.
I
Um,
wanted it, but
Yeah.
like,
no, exactly, but like that sold that much. That's crazy to me. But he talks about, the obvious thing. Ghost Game, the Digivice V are, aiming at new people. Um,
Mhm.
One thing about Ghost Game they did on purpose was that it's Digimon shunting to the real world rather than the reverse, because that's what's normally done. And they point out Tamers did that also at first.
Yeah.
Um, the handful of
Yeah.
changes to the Digivice V were based on feedback. Um, the Digimon falling asleep around 8 p.m. and stuff like sleep mode, that was done because
Mhm.
a lot of working people.
Mhm.
yeah, like why I can't
Yeah,
have V-pads for the most
yeah.
part,
Oh,
because my work schedule is
no,
shit.
no, exactly. Or talked about how for the average user, it takes them 2 months to see everything there is to see in a dim card, which is why they've been aiming dim card releases at roughly every 2 months as it's gone on.
Mhm. Mhm.
He points
Mhm.
out that some of the evolution in Ghost Game will appear in the anime, but not all. And people are like, we might see Gamamon evolve into X. It's like, no, that's not what he's saying.
Whoa.
No,
No.
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 Um,
Stop.
they talk about, they expanding it to other characters, and how really at this point Kamen Rider and Ultraman were done because this is them aiming them at adults. And he doesn't say, but those ones come with larger bands, so those
Yeah.
ones are more obviously aimed at,
Yeah.
and that's why like Kuga and Tiga are both mid 90s characters.
Mhm.
um they imagine that, and we're kind of entering it now, but he's not wrong that in another few years Digimon will hit the point where functionally almost any adult who has a kid, the kid will be old enough to enjoy Digimon if it's someone who grew up with Digimon.
My kid already enjoys
No,
Digimon.
absolutely, but we
I feel
were
like
but
for
we were
once I feel like I'm ahead of the
no,
curve
absolutely,
here.
but we're older than a lot of fans who were when the show first aired.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, and stuff like the card game doing well. And he points out the card game sells 4 times more in the West than it does in Japan.
Huh.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. Um,
Considering I've never actually like seen it physically in
but
any store of minus one time
no, but
ever.
that's kind of the answer though.
Yeah.
Is it appears and then it's just wiped out.
Yeah,
Um,
the only time I've seen it was the time I actually was able to buy it.
he
I've seen empty boxes and empty trays before. I
he
see those all the time.
yeah he
I
does
haven't even seen like a spot for them aside from like I see a ton of the Digital Monster V Pet
yeah.
locally,
Now
but
he does do the confusing thing that's been done a bit lately, where he's like, "Oh yeah, the first time I became aware of how passionate overseas Digimon fans were was Hacker's Memory Sales." It's like, okay, he's talking about Cybersleuth as a whole because that's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
He's talked about it selling more than 1 million worldwide. He talks about Digimon has a very strong sales ratio. That's basically referring to X sales in Japan versus sales elsewhere. Generally, like let's say Saint Seiya. Saint Seiya does decent in Japan, it does very well in Latin America, and in the US, you could not get someone to spend money on Saint Seiya if you threatened them with a knife. Um, and I say that having worked on Saint Seiya, just to clarify that.
it's
Saint
okay.
Seiya,
The biggest fangirl of Saint Seiya I know is in Europe.
yeah, but Saint Seiya, that has a movie coming out in the U.S., and I don't know if that will make something happen or if it'll just flatten on impact, even with every single actor in the cast being like a high-end cast. And it's like, oh, they will not. They keep dreaming of this doing well in the U.S., and it just never has. But they're still gonna try. Did you see the cast?
Nope.
Um, so I'm just gonna go through quickly. Makenyu, Madison Asamon, Sean Bean, who's gonna die, Diego Tinoco, Famke Janssen, Nick Stoll, Mark Dacascos.
I have not heard of any of those people, and I don't care.
How have you not heard of Famke
Never
Janssen or Sean Bean?
Never
I've,
heard
I
of
haven't
them.
I haven't
Really?
heard of the first one. I've heard of Sean Bean, obviously.
You've heard of Famke Janssen, you just don't remember the name. She was in GoldenEye and
Okay.
she's Jean Grey in all the older X-Men movies.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you would definitely
Yeah.
know her, you just don't know the name. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but
No, she was in GoldenEye. I'd know that.
yeah, she's the one who killed people during sex.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's exactly the role I would have guessed.
yes. So
Genia on a top.
yeah, so Digimon is one where they're happy with the numbers and they really know how well it does overseas and they see it as very promising for them to focus on. At the moment, and remember, this is Bandai, they see their main two things at the moment being trying to expand the Digivice V in the card game, and then they separately measure the third axis of the video game. It's like they separated it because they kind of have to go, there hasn't been a video game in a while, and that needs to be dealt with. Um, and and their analysis, they actually talk about their analysis of why the card game has done well. They've actually matched up ages of card game buyers, and they believe the majority of people are people who watched Digimon Adventure in the West when it originally aired.
I mean,
So
I
it's
can definitely see
so
that.
it's people who watch
Yeah.
Digimon on Fox Kids. They're adults now. They see the art and they go, "Oh shit, it's Digimon! I'm gonna go fucking get this."
Almost like the dub knew what it was doing to
Yeah.
draw kids into the
Which
franchise.
is why anytime someone goes, they should unify the names and stop that, they're never gonna fucking let go of those names ever.
Yeah,
Those
that's yeah,
they yeah those
exactly.
and he
That's
also
why the reboot kids all have dub names on their
yeah
cards.
yeah and they actually he specifically talks a bit about fans liking the anime. They like card games. And minus a few card games, Japanese card games generally haven't done well in the West. This by keep
No,
and he
no.
talks
Because a
about
lot of them are like overly complicated
no
and
exactly.
really
Well,
niche
here's the
mechanics.
thing.
So
He doesn't bring it up. I believe it's an American who was the head designer for the card game. I don't remember the guy's name, but it came up in an interview somewhere where someone mentioned his name, and it's actually like a card game designer from like Nevada, I think.
Hmm,
And
cool.
he talks about how a big focus has been doing high quality art and careful planning with staff that knows Digimon so they can evaluate changes carefully. And
Nice.
especially, and they also go over how in North America, sales have been very good despite the fact they've basically been able to do no events at all. And people
Mm-hmm.
playing online with each other. There's too much to. That's about half of it. So we'll stop there because there's just too much. It's basically need to read on your own. But
It's good insights. It's really
it
good insights.
he seems very much aware of the U.S. audience specifically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very more on the ball than you'd expect from an executive, to be honest.
Just
And
imagine him like listening to this
and
goddamn podcast.
oh, that's what I was going to bring up next. And so, because
That'd be awkward.
Japanese names can sometimes be translated different ways. So before I'm writing it, I'm trying to make sure I have the spelling correct. It's like, oh, there's a Twitter with that name. It mentions Digimon. I'm like, okay, I should follow him. Why does this say this guy's following me? Shit. Yeah. Yeah. And then the beloved card game. The card game's going hardcore with the art, even more so in the last week. So
Oh my god, all the parallel art is just
yeah.
so fucking
So
gorgeous.
we have before that we have all the standard art now. Very nice artwork. But what we need to talk about is the parallel cards, which have gone fucking hardcore. Especially yesterday, showing off all the anime ones.
Mm-hmm.
Those are fucking
Oh, I love
gorgeous.
them.
Like like every set, there's a few that you can go. I know what's going to sell. It's going to be the parallel cards of Gilmon, Reppamon, Terramon, Takato, Genra, and Ruki. Those are
Mm-hmm.
going to be the top sellers. Those all look psychotically good.
Yes.
I
Love
mean,
the Takata with the Dukemon in the background. That's just
I think
it's
the surprise one is going to be the Ruki card specifically. The art on
I don't think
you think it's
I
going
don't
to be
think
Takato?
Ruki and No, I'm just saying I don't think Ruki and Sakuyamon being successful is going to surprise anybody.
No, I'm talking about on the sense of ones that could sell based on the art alone. The art on
Yes,
that
that's what I
card,
mean.
the art on that card is even a step above the others, which are amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
No,
really fucking impressive.
I'm not surprised at
Yeah,
Ruki bringing the
it's
quality
really fucking good.
or the popular
Um,
demand.
yeah, so lots of previews there. The blue card's ugly as shit. I mean that.
I I
Here's the thing.
Oh, he still looks cool.
I still love the audacity of having cards about cards.
No, here's the thing. I can forgive what the blue card.
Cardception.
I can forgive what the blue card looks like on one condition, and that's that there's a parallel card that is just the blue card design.
I would love that.
If
That's
they
my
don't,
phone case.
if they don't do that, then that they did the little game icon thing is psychotically stupid. So lots of cards to look over. Fun Digico went over a few of them. And that Yaman card is great, where it's just paint splatter on everyone in the back.
Yes.
Um,
Exactly what I imagine Yaman's
yeah,
being
and
like.
then Card Battle did a Christmas show where they had two of the team captains play, and one of them was playing to win prizes for the viewers, which is a stupid idea that I love.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. And the prize is the playmat with autograph.
Incidentally, I want some like top tier level player of the Digimon card game to manage to create an incredibly overpowered deck based around using the Ai and Makoto card. Like that is a challenge I'm issuing. I want someone to make this happen.
AR demands it. And then
I am demanding it. It'll incorporate Beelzebumon somehow, so it's not that bad, but
yeah.
I want to see this happen.
And then moving on from cards. Poll results for social art. You know what the most amazing thing here is? I think nearly every one of these pieces of art we commented on as being among the best, among the worst, or among the ones we would just like to see rank highly, and we doubted they would. And
we did okay on this one.
we did
I mean, I think the only wild card was the Masaru and
Yeah, I think the
Sabers
Masaru
Eye.
was the
no, see,
one that did way better than we thought.
I think we commented on, hey, that's a unique that's a unique show cart one though, where like we go, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. The only
The
two that I
Sabers and Atmon people, they showed up for
I
this.
think there's only two that we didn't comment on, which was Pegasmon and Angelmon. I don't think we commented on either of those because they were just sort of, hey, okay.
Yeah,
They're good, but they're
And
there.
the funny part was
they were towards the bottom anyway.
but
So.
no, but remember, this is not the bottom. This is the top
No,
half.
I mean it's the bottom of the top
Yeah,
half.
but then like
outside the top
no,
10, I don't care.
but then like remember me commenting that, oh, Blitz Greymon, he could rank high, and I remember AR shuddering at the thought.
It was
But
still like 11th, so it's not like.
that's still in the top,
Or
like
15th.
that's still
15th.
shockingly high.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
anything beyond the top 10, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
thanks for showing up.
yeah, and then just went up last night. Not quite a poll, but we get a new vote to vote for a new Otadama, and it's 10 villains, and people once again got upset because, hey, look, it's from the two shows that actually make money.
See, the only reason I'd be upset is that it's Gatsumon. Like,
So
Gatsumon and Pumpmon are, like, I know they're considered
Yeah.
villains, but
yeah. Okay,
come
so
on. Come
you
on.
could
I
you
mean,
could
if Vandemon doesn't win, then Vande is going to just like fly to Japan and just burn down Bandai.
so you can
I
vote.
mean,
So you
it's
can
we're looking for
you can vote for
we're looking
3
for
out of the
who's
10.
becoming a.
Yeah.
You're looking for who's becoming a beanbag. It's got to be Pumpmon, right?
I'm
Like,
trying to.
that's the one I
So here's
need
the
as
thing.
a
This
beanbag.
was like at 3:30 last night, so I'm trying to remember who I voted for. I think I've I know I voted for Edamon, and I think I voted for Pumpmon. I don't remember who the third one was. I I'm gonna say it's somewhere between Vamdemon, Paimon, and Karamon.
I mean, those are basically my three choices.
Yeah.
Vampire,
Caramon would be
clown,
weird
and
as a.
little
But
bastard.
that's why I want to
Caramon
see
would
it.
be weird as a beanbag.
That's why
Yeah,
I
you
want
want
to
to
see
see
it
them try to
because
do
here's
it.
the thing: the basic body shape has to be the same. So like you just
Mhm.
draw a bunch of tentacles on the back, I guess.
Right?
But I want to see how they do it because, like, for example, Daemon, I can 100% see how you do Daemon Demon
Oh
as
yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
an easy
easily.
one. Or even
Yeah.
like, or Pumpmon's a really easy one.
Mhm.
Caramon has such a fucky body shape. I just kind of want to see it.
Yeah. And if they're on the list, like
Yeah.
they have a plan for
Yeah.
them.
And so the votes here end a week from now, December 27th, but take into account Japan time, so get your vote in before then. And I like how they tell us it's part 1 villain, which means there's going to be a part 2.
I mean, imagine like a cute little Mugendramon one. With little tiny cannon.
Or is it going to be part 2 like Heroes or something?
Maybe. So what you're saying is people will get to vote for a Leomon.
Do they have a Leomon one already?
I don't think so.
I'm trying to remember.
I think the only non-main hero characters they did was, I know they did Wizardmon. Wizardmon may be the only non-main hero character, I think.
Maybe I'm just hallucinating vividly because I feel like, oh wait, now that might have been like keychains where they threw in Leomon.
And then a few pre-orders opened up. The Figure-Eye Standard Dukemon, and
oh my god, it's pretty.
I know, and it's only 22. That does not. Am I wrong, or does it seem like that would be more expensive? Like, and I know we've said it before, but
I assumed around like 45. Honestly.
Yeah.
I guess we need to see like how it looks at the end to see if it was really worth that money, because that does seem weirdly low, doesn't it? And I don't mean like I would prefer it to be cheaper, but for like how it looks, it feels like I don't know. Maybe it was just really easy to mold. And then Adventure Blu-ray and DVD Box 5, February 2nd. That's the end of the first time a Digimon TV series made in HD actually gets an HD release.
How about that?
Still waiting for Crosswords.
I would also like Crosswords. And then Jump Festa. We got Digimon stuff. So they have the Gamamon suit on display. They have a very nice Digimon corner. Is that Gamamon statue from the Toei display, is that new or not? I keep looking at the damn thing going, this is new, but I swear I've seen it before. At one
I think
point,
that's a
It
different
looks like
one.
the same one that was.
but like there is no Gamamon statue before this, has there been? Like,
It just looks so generic.
so what I did was I actually pulled up a photo of the Digimon figure because I thought maybe it was just that blown up, but it actually is different. It's very close in pose, though, so I wonder if that was the basis. Um, so very nice display of everything, and there'll be a bit more to talk about with that later. They put up a new Ghost Game PV with the Ghost Navigator talking, then his actor holding the Gamamon plush, as you would expect. Um,
That much gets around.
no, really, it's like the statue's weird because it's nice, but yeah, it feels like we've seen it before. The Dreamer's Wall was nice. The Tamer's Wall was nice. The product display was very nice, where you have a small display in front of Gamamon and a bunch behind him. Um, so, Dev, how do you feel about the sun visor?
Yes.
Am I wrong, or does it look like the old Disney shorts when the face pops up at the beginning? You know what I mean?
What?
It's
Yeah.
Gamamon. I'll give it a pass. Yeah.
That is Looney Tunes. That is not Disney.
I mean, they did the same thing for a
They do the
while.
same. They
True,
did. They
but
did.
but
There's like
like
the
but
indie
like
paint
but
club
like the
stuff.
but like the face specifically looks like a Mickey or a Donald face from those.
And it works for me. It works for
Yeah.
Gamamon.
Staring into your soul.
And then
Yeah.
because of Jump Festa, we get figure news. So first up, we get actual photos we can see of Premium Color Edition Figure Arts Dukemon, which is a new mold, and that actually looks really fucking nice, I have to say. Like, really nice. Tamers fans should be very happy with that one.
The colors are just so crisp.
I know they're really good. Then we get a silhouette of Garurumon battle version. And so here's my issue with this. The actual figure will not live up to the silhouette because
Mm-mm.
the silhouette, because of the angle they took it at, it almost looks stylized, which would look
Yeah.
great. But I expect that's just angles from the silhouette, and it's gonna be like show perfect, which is gonna look amazing. But I love the stylized like big mouth look, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't imagine it will look like that. But
I'm just worried how much this thing is gonna cost.
it is a precious gem, and it is 10 inches long, so good luck, Dev. That will be out summer 2020, and they're re-releasing Angemon and Takaru.
That's a pretty popular one.
It is,
That
and the
pretty sure that
wings
one didn't
and the wings
explode.
and the wings don't explode on impact, which I love now that they don't have that excuse anymore if they really stupidly decide to do the Angelmon again, which broke on that one just arrived broken, and I love that they
it
and
was made of glass.
and I loved that the excuse to take the stock and use it for replacements in Japan was we find it's not appropriate for Digimon outside of Japan in any country. And then I think like a month later they went Lady Devamon worldwide in like a cheesecake pose. And people still go, no, they said Andromon's because the figure's inappropriate. It's like, have you looked at half these figures?
Only the villains can have boobs.
And it's like, oh,
They're very nice boobs,
but
by the
no,
way.
the Andromon one, the Arrow one, was a cheesecake figure. Also, they just designed it better,
absolutely.
and that packaging was hilarious. I know me and Dev both got it. That one had so much bubble wrap and shit in it that like you needed a trash bag.
Each individual wing
Yes.
had bags around it.
Oh, it had once you unpack that figure, it can't go back in the box with the wrapping because it's a cartoonish amount of wrapping. Yeah.
It's like, it's just sitting on the shelf now.
Yeah. And then from Jump Festa, they also had art on display, character art, and I went through and straightened and did the colors on the height chart to make that look all nice and
Oh
pretty.
yeah,
Yeah,
kind of
lots
It
of
is
design
greatly
art.
semi.
appreciated.
It's kind of nice and sort of useful.
Yeah. Oh,
What? I really hope that Ghost Game gets kind of like the art books that the older seasons used to get.
Oh,
those
always the dream.
those often aren't done quite as much anymore because people are buying the collector's crap now instead.
You still want all the fun behind the scenes
Absolutely.
info.
Oh, absolutely. I would also. And
I love that Hiro's the short one. He's the tiny.
yeah,
He's the shrimp of the group.
and lots of good art though from that. And then Rear Eyes got Christmas art.
I feel like they've used this before.
I think that
It's just so
so
generic.
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Well, it's the same. It's the same poses that they
Yes.
use all the
So
time
that's the
for
thing
these
is this
characters.
may be brand new art, but because the poses are mostly reused, it looks familiar because it is. But I actually really like it, to be
I don't
honest.
even think the art's new. I swear I've seen this before.
So here's my
Although it
only.
might have.
There's
Yeah.
one flaw here. Rear Eyes has kind of lost track of that the player characters actually have a look.
They always forget that.
So
They don't use them ever.
So the player characters aren't here, even though every once in a while on social media they'll throw up the art and go, "Hey, remember this is you in the game, and now we have shit to do."
Mm-hmm. And it's not irrelevant. Like you play story mode, your player character is an actual
Yeah,
character. Like stuff happens to you.
yeah. And then a bit more art. We have social art from the account of the Reppamon arguing at this time.
Scream at own ass.
Yeah. And then
It's cat chasing tail.
and then Tenya Yabuno showing off. I think is that supposed to be a sliced lemon or a lemon?
It's just, I mean, it's not sliced very well, so Reppamon didn't do it.
Yeah. And then I like how Ruli's like the center, and then Angoramon's like fading out like a ghost because of the effect.
It's become one with the lemon.
And then we
He's
have
using some vague invisibility rules that we still don't quite understand.
That's horrible. And then we have questions. You guys in the chat can start throwing those up as we go to them. Someone wants to know, could they have translated the title for Digimon Ghost Game 11 to anything? Yes, they could have. They were kind of lazy.
But it would have been kind of bullshitty.
But here's the thing, it doesn't matter because in the episode they don't really explain what it is in the first place. Minimally.
Well, that's because it's like a very, very specific cultural phenomenon.
No, but that's what I mean. But here's the thing. No, it actually means two different things in Japan. It could be the creature, or it could just be the quote-unquote windstorm caused by the creature. You could have just called it windstorm or wind or whatever, and it would have been fine.
Divine wind or something.
It would have at least had meaning as an episode title.
But unless there's like, I probably would have gone with like the equivalent, if there was an equivalent Western.
I would have just gone with like windstorm or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, it was supposed to be also the reference to the yokai, so
yeah. But that has no meaning as an episode title in English.
Until you Google it and you find all this interesting information about Kamaitachi, which is actually pretty cool.
Let's pretend like the vast majority of people are going to check.
I just did, and
if you're watching
enlightened.
This, you're already a goddamn weeb, so.
Ramon wants to know that if we were to submit drawings for the contest, which Digimon would we do?
Ooh, good question.
I need to pull up that eligibility list.
Regardless of skill level?
I would do Gamamon.
Well, you get up to 3.
I mean, I really want to do Gendramon.
Agumon, Terriermon, Lilymon.
Yeah, it would be Gamamon, Terriermon, and one of the other ones. Yeah, probably Lilymon, I guess. That would. I can't draw, so.
Yeah.
I can't draw but only terrible things.
Well,
I'd
no,
have my kid draw it.
I assume he's saying theoretically, if you were going to be able to enter it.
Definitely Mugendramon,
I'd have my kid do it
Gamamon,
and
and probably
call it
Terriermon.
I know what the Mugendramon card someone has to do is. Him running from the episode of Adventure when he doesn't have arms anymore. We're like 1 foot or both feet are off the ground and are wide apart, and he's just doing that dash, but like he's running towards the card screen.
That would be hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Actually, my third would be Patamon. Yeah, Patamon, Terriermon, Gamamon would be my three. That or Mugendramon, and then
Oh,
Lucas.
I forgot to bring up the most important thing. Oh no, it has to do with cards though. The Kulumon parallel card. That card has great art and it's fucking horrifying looking.
Some weird ass magical girl transformation kind of creepy
so
thing.
here's what seems to have happened. They mistook his feet for like actual legs, but he's posed like he's on like on the catwalk type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or as
on a balance beam.
Or as I put it, he's doing like a Black Widow pose from a movie poster. Like
Same time, I feel like he does walk like that.
No, because he
does have that
he has the no leg back and forth plop 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 thing.
Oh.
Where he has feet but no legs.
Okay.
He's like a Kirby.
But I thought those.
Yeah,
feet,
exactly.
I forgot
It's
if
the
it
Kirby
was
run. It's the Kirby run.
Yeah.
But what it is when he's but here's the thing: when he's flying, his feet are on his back, going straight down. So it looks like the artist misinterpreted that as like being actual legs, and then they drew them as actual legs.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't have legs.
No, he has the Kirby. He has the Kirby plop 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 feet. Then someone wants to know: are there any
exceptionally eloquent?
Yeah. And then someone wants to know:
technical term.
Are there any foods you eat during December?
I mean, it's beginning to be soup season.
Oh, I want soup.
Yeah, I guess that's the easy answer. Is you go with soup because it's cold.
But also stew. Oh my god.
See, I'm not a fan.
Like, we only bother cooking it when
I'm not a fan of stew, to be honest.
Okay, then you haven't had the stew that my family makes.
No,
I'm growing more into stew.
I almost guarantee you I wouldn't like it.
I'm coming around on stew.
This is a good season for stuffed mushrooms.
Hit or miss. I just generally don't like the texture of most mushrooms.
Same.
Not shocking. A lot of people don't. Then someone wants to know what makes you decide what is appropriate when posting news, comments, or retweets. I assume this is related to the Cyber Sleuth image the other day. And the truth is I look at stuff, and AR no doubt has his own guidelines figured out. I look at stuff and I go, not necessarily the art quality. Do I see the effort? Is it interesting? Will people like it? So like you will see me retweet a lot of Savers stuff, even though I'm not a big Savers fan. But a lot of times,
my criteria is if it looks good, I generally like it.
Generally, yes.
It.
I
tend not to. I will say I tend not to retweet stuff that like you retweet. Like if a more popular, like if a bigger account retweets it, and I get it from that, I tend not to. But if it's like one of my friends, or if it's a couple of the Japanese accounts I follow,
so
they're spreading stuff, I'm like, that's when I'm more likely to give it a.
So my searches are crazy enough that my retweets are from a wide variety. Like there's one, I think it was from earlier today. It's from someone who did this really nice image of Jellymon and Kyushiro, and they have like almost no followers. It's like it's so good. One second, just to show you guys what it looks like. Like that's so fun, that art.
Yeah.
The one that I believe the question is about is, one second, I'm attempting to find it. It was a Cyber Sleuth artwork. It's one of those where it's right on the fucking line of where I would and I wasn't going to, but the art was so good I kind of went, okay, fine, even though I normally would not. Because here's the thing. It's bait, but the art's really good.
It is really good art.
It's one of those where the art's so good that I decided to overlook the obvious fan service bait of it. because it's really good art. Like,
I mean,
It is
yeah,
good
it's
quality and it is also enjoyable.
yeah,
it's also
I don't go
like
for the heavy
it's
fan
not
service
any
art.
it's not any more it's not quite any more fan servicey than her usual outfits.
No,
So
and that's but here's the thing. But the putting the retweet and the heart things on the chest is bait.
yes.
But I decided this isn't technically any different than what she normally wears in the game. And you have
Mm-hmm.
the cute, and then you have the cute weird Patamon in the background.
It's a Terriermon.
Yeah. So
Terriermon.
so this is right on the line because this is functionally exactly what she wears in the show, in the game. But it's right on the line of where it's almost not too
Yeah.
far to enjoy it because it is good art, but where it's right on the line of what I would actually retweet. I decided it was good enough that I chose to.
Meanwhile, I have like no such compunctions. Like, this is
Well,
absolutely
so here's
horrible.
the thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
reviewed it and reblogged it.
I have the compunctions because there are quite a few people who are not adults who follow for actual franchise news. So that is self-imposed on me by me. Um,
Meanwhile, I'm like, hey, if someone's following me, that's their problem. They
uh,
made that mistake.
the problem is I have enough people that I kind of have to at least think about
You
them.
sometimes have to remember
Yeah,
that you're a website
yeah.
account.
Um, and then someone wants to know, do you think Digimon Survive will add any Digimon who are newer than when they started? If you don't have Ghost Game related Digimon in it, then you don't know what you're doing and
Yeah,
you shouldn't be making games.
at that point you sort of do have to add at least Pulsemon and Gamamon and company to the roster
Yeah, you have
just to keep it modern.
yeah, you have to have the marketing expectation of what it is. Like, here's the thing. I wouldn't be shocked if they added the two higher Kazuna forms, for example, as like special unlockables.
Yeah.
But you really
Yeah.
do need some Ghost Game stuff. You realistically need Pulsemon, like you said. And there's been a lot of interesting Digimon since that showed up. So you kind
I mean, it's also like you think about some of the Digimon that we were excited about when Survive was announced, like Labramon. Like Labramon's been in 2 consecutive anime now.
yeah,
Like it's not the hot thing anymore.
yeah. And Floramon showed up in plenty of stuff.
Floramon's always shown up in plenty of stuff.
Yeah. And then we go on to the return of the mystery boxes with AR and Dev with instructions to watch stuff. Dev, I believe your schedule meant that you kind of didn't. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been working like 3
Yeah.
weeks straight, and I don't
Yeah,
actually get a day off until
I
January.
kind
So
of
I
saw.
started watching.
Yeah, that's why I sent that reminder because I kind of went. I think Dev's working so much. I don't know if she will be able to, but I'm at least reminding her. But you did start, I think.
Yeah, on Black Rock Shooter because it's like, I watched this before. I can probably like get through a decent amount of it, and it's just like, wow, I completely forgot how fucking weird this series was.
Yeah, we'll revisit Dev when she actually has the time to enjoy something. But the fun starts with AR. AR, what did you
I
watch?
I understood the assignment, so I watched that
Unlike me, who's
Cleopatra.
turning in for half credit next week.
I mean, it's an excused delay.
Yeah,
You have work obligations. I watched Cleopatra last night, as we've discussed a while ago on the show how messed up that was, and yeah, it was.
I wasn't lying.
Yeah, you definitely were not lying. That was an experience. First off, because I've never watched something that old before. Like you think about like Astro Boy era stuff, and you think of like oh, this must be like super classy, and it's like oh, Tommy Topeka, like oh my
Oh,
god,
I mean,
this is
assuming
like yeah, it's
ass-
on the label. It's like it's the Godfather of anime,
it's
and
worth
then you
mentioning.
watch it, and
It's worth
it's
mentioning. As long as my memory isn't playing tricks, I believe Astro Boy's in the movie.
yes, Astro Boy makes a cameo in the movie. So does Iyami from Osomatsu, who I actually when we looked up when I was looking up the filmography for Giugiamani, I noticed that he was in an Osamatsu series from 1966. So when I watched it last night, I'm like, is Osamatsu really that old? And
Yes.
yes, it is, in fact.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was like 70s or
No,
80s, and no,
it's
it goes
very
back to
old.
the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
yeah, it's like it. Yeah, that's the kind of show it is.
so
It
what
like
were your
it.
what are your overall thoughts on the film, AR, for
So
Cleopatra?
what I've boiled it down to is that Cleopatra is basically a crossover episode of um Quantum Leap, classic Peabody and Sherman, and the bloodiest, horniest episode of Game of Thrones you can imagine.
That is cartoonishly fucking accurate.
Also, there's spots where Terry Gilliam directs. That parade sequence just like blew my mind.
You're like, what the
It's
fuck am I watching?
Yeah, basically.
Oh,
Like
and
once you get into
and
the
also
initial like Tex Avery cartoonish happy slaughter rape fest. Like, okay.
so and of course Caesar looks like the Great Gazoo.
Yeah,
I
everyone's
believe I
models
did
are a
promise
little
you the weirdest fucked up thing. Uh, I don't
it's
so
pretty up there.
so I don't remember. Did I prepare you for that? The movie actually starts off pseudo live action.
I forgot.
I don't remember
So
if
I was
I
not
don't recall you mentioning it
okay.
unless
I
you
yeah,
wasn't sure.
told AR
I
privately.
this is the random quantum leap framing device, which was almost completely unnecessary.
Oh, completely
Almost.
unnecessary.
Not quite. Well,
Mostly
except for the part where one of the guys actually uses his
the
future
gun,
information,
the gun.
future knowledge, and like I'm gonna craft modern weapons.
Well,
Like
yeah,
ancient problems require modern solutions.
and then Cleopatra has the gun.
Yeah, yeah, it's like I'm stuck in a gladiator battle against this root. I'm going to create a gun
Yes. Now here's the
in
fun.
ancient Rome.
So here's the fun part.
Our friendship and this gun I found.
Yes,
Exactly. And
yes.
here's the fun part. Not quite as crazy, but the movie Dev Has 1001 Nights is a counterpoint to Cleopatra from much of the same staff.
Oh, goody.
In
Have fun
fact,
with that.
I think they made but here's the thing.
Oh, I will.
It's more coherent and it's not quite as what the fuck is going on? Cuz
Okay,
like
keep in
Yeah,
mind that these were both made during the time when shrooms were still legal in
no,
Japan.
so here's the thing. Here's the thing, and here's what I mean.
that explains a lot of Cleopatra,
Cleopatra's
actually.
completely fucking random. Like it has a plot,
Yes.
but the movie does so much weird shit. You kind of go at times,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on?
And it's weird because it's like it is sort of attempting to follow the historical
Yeah.
timeline. Like that is sort of like you can sort of make out the traditional story of
Yes. Uh,
Cleopatra in all of this
yes.
craziness.
1001
And there are
Night.
even
Go
yeah,
ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
there are even parts that like in between all of this insanity and awfulness, like there are moments where I'm like, oh, they did okay, they showed Caesar's assassination
Yeah.
as a kabuki play. Like that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to being insane.
1001 Nights is the same general mood, but it is not the what the fuck is going on-ness of it. Like it is a more coherent film. And I don't know if that makes it objectively better or worse. I think it's a better movie than Cleopatra, but Cleopatra's probably more fun in the sense of, oh my god, make them stop. What's going on?
Right, right.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like this was bizarre. Like it's kind of awful, and yet also that commentary with Helen McCarthy intrigues me, and I kind of need to watch it
Oh,
now. Like I want to see what I
you will
need
love
to
it.
see what she like. I love Helen McCarthy. I
You'll
need to
love
know
it.
what she has to say about this.
You'll love it. Um.
Crap.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You
That solidifies that I'm gonna end up watching this movie again.
yeah. And I think she did a commentary on 1001 Nights also. I don't remember for a fact though.
I need to
Mm.
watch. Now I need to watch this before the next ASIN in case she shows
Would
up,
it
and I
say
need to.
on the outside of the box? So I have them right
It should, yeah. It was on the outside of the
here.
Cleopatra.
Oh, there
It's
you go.
it's
Feature commentary with Helen McCarthy.
Ding ding. Yeah.
She's
Oh
wonderful.
no,
I'm
there is almost no one better to listen to talk to about anime history than her.
and it'll if she I hope she's at ASUN again in May so I can talk to her about this movie because
Someone sent me the
yikes.
disc to torture me, but I loved your commentary.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
someone sent this to me basically on a dare, but your director's commentary was on your commentary was on it, so I had to watch this movie twice thanks to you.
and then that's about it for that. There are ones that you guys will watch in the future. I think Arion is the one you guys will both actually enjoy.
Yeah, like I almost like it was late Sunday night before I had a chance to watch anything, and
Absolutely.
I almost went like I was almost like I'm just gonna take the easy road and watch like the Lupin movie you sent me,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
no, that wasn't like the assignment. What like you wanted me to report
Oh
back
no,
on
realistically
Cleopatra.
yes, because that's the crazy one. Uh,
Yeah, that's the
like
crazy one.
like Memories is the one that I think you'll really actually enjoy. Arion
Hmm.
is the one that I think is the most. Wow, this is a real. This makes perfect sense, and it's also a little crazy that they actually made it work.
And I'm not gonna lie, just based on our history with the podcast, I almost reported back on Lapina again.
I see. So here's the thing. I didn't actually ask or tell you guys what to watch. I basically left it up to you. So until you mentioned earlier today, oh, I knew what the assignment was. I had no
Yeah,
idea
well,
until you
I
mentioned.
know, but Cleopatra was going to deliver the best
Oh
content for
no,
the
absolutely.
podcast.
But I was gonna leave it up to you. I honestly
Yeah,
thought that if you were rushed, you might just try to watch one episode of Love Hina.
yeah.
But
Although
yeah,
there's only like 3 episodes of that, isn't
yeah, that
there?
OVA is only 3 episodes long.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at some point, Dev will have the time, and we'll revisit her with probably 1001 Nights, because I think after she heard the Cleopatra stuff, she kind of wants to know.
Oh, absolutely. They're
Um,
just
Is it
finding time.
is it just as horny?
Hornier,
Probably. I mean,
hornier.
Oh
just
my
looking
god.
at the box
How is
art
that
of it, it's
how is
definitely
that
horny.
possible?
There's
It's
some titties on
so.
there.
So here's the thing. It's
One character in Cleopatra literally walks around with her tits out the entire movie.
no that happens in that one also.
Okay, God.
That one I would say is hornier because it comes across as slightly less wacky, random bullshit. So it may actually be
Mm,
less, but because it's more of a coherent film, it's easier to go.
yeah.
It's easier to remember it as that. But
And
in
also in Cleopatra, the actual sex scenes they attempted to be artsy with.
no, they do that in 1001 Nights
Emphasis
also. They do that in 1001.
emphasis on emphasis on attempted.
Yeah, if I remember my dates correctly, and I may not, 1001 Nights was the first one, and then the second was them going psychotically crazy on the next one. Although 1001 Nights weirder because there's an English dub.
That must be awkward for the actors.
I was looking up
It's a
the
yeah the
movie and it sounds like Cleopatra did get an English release at the time,
um
like
I
theatrically.
I want to say it did have a subtitled release, really limited. But
Okay.
1001 Nights they actually dubbed, and the dub was lost, and we found it, and then it had to, but it's the editing slightly different, so it's com-
Cuz the when I was doing my research, like there was actually a dispute whether or not that movie or Fritz the Cat's was considered the first ever X-rated
so
animated film.
I actually know the answer because it came up
It's
recently.
it's
It
got to
it,
be
it
Fritz the Cat,
so
but
it's Fritz the Cat because I think they didn't actually get Cleopatra rated. They just said it was X rated.
yeah.
Like
X ratings aren't an actual thing though.
well, I believe they were at the time though. I think
I I
or
don't believe they were. I
I,
think that's a
I thought.
it does not clear like it could not clear for an R in the
Oh, here
MPAA.
we go.
So they just
No,
said,
the X rating did exist. I'm looking at it right
"Oh,
now.
okay."
X rating was applied to a film that contained judgment unsuitable for children when the MPA rating system began in 1968. The X rating was given to a film by the MPA if submitted to blah blah blah. Okay, it was an actual rating up
Hmm.
until
Okay. Up until they did
holy
NC-17, I
shit.
think.
RoboCop got an X rating initially. They had to edit it 11 different times to get an R rating.
Yes, that.
But but
Yeah,
but
I know
but
they have to edit down. I know there's a lot of movies they
okay,
have
here
to
we go.
edit down to
Okay,
get an R
X
rating.
X was an actual rating, but was not trademarked, so anyone could
Oh, okay.
technically just use it.
Yep. Okay.
The idea was that if you weren't going to get rated, just use X and don't make us deal with it. So yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
so we're about done. But yeah, Dev's gonna find that one interesting, and I honestly think Memories is the one AR is going to connect with the most.
I'll keep that in mind
Okay,
next time I'm looking for something to watch.
AR, what do you have coming up? Anything interesting in any fashion?
Oh, it's gonna be a short. Well, actually, it's gonna be a short week because I'm, going away for the holidays. But I might have free time over the weekend while I'm at family's house, so I might get something done on some Tumblr stuff. But we'll see. Anyway, my Twitter is First Agent ARP. My Tumblr is firstagent.tumblr.com.
Dev, what Wikimon article would you like people to read?
Mm, let's see.
As I'm,
Draymond Christmas tree.
that's the trash article.
I don't care. It's festive.
No, it is, but that's also the trash one. That is not a separate fucking Digimon. It's him in a costume, and people are like, no, it has a level. It's like Pumpmon had a fucking level of Ultimate when it's a raid boss gag, and they've made an actual fucking listing for it as a character.
Exactly. So just go with it. I don't care anymore.
And the best part is the entomology. The person copy pasted it so it doesn't even list Christmas tree under the name.
Oh my god.
So the entomology just says Jirai, cherry. They don't list Christmas tree at all because that's not it's not an actual separate character. It's a joke for fun.
You know what? I hope the next raid boss is gonna be like a straw goatmon.
I believe it popped up earlier, and I think I don't think we have images yet, but I believe it's a Mamemon.
Aw. I want to see the goat burn some more.
I think it's I think someone said it was Tonosama Mamemon.
Eh.
Okay.
Because New Year's celebration.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do a Christmas one, you might as well do a New Year's one too.
Yeah. So we'll see how that
Gotta want
comes
New
up.
Year's food.
Yeah. So we have one more episode left in the year, and the next episode is what everyone's waited for: AR and Dev trying the gum.
The gum.
No, 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 no.
So
I wouldn't go that far.
yeah, yeah, it wasn't necessarily good. It wasn't bad gum. It wasn't good though. So we will catch you guys next time. Thank you everyone for showing up. Bye.
I
Bye.